Hello, Morning Mimosa viewers. This is Holly, the founder, and as you guys know, this is Morning Mimosas, where we value human life, criminal justice, healing, and education for the Black and minority communities with a note that we love everyone. You guys, this episode is sponsored by Imuna's Soap and Essentials. Imuna's Soap and Essentials is a skincare line here based in Denver/Aurora, Colorado. The founder, Anjet Sayers, believes that natural products is just way better for the skin. And she believes that if you have the best products, you'll be able to live a better life. So, today for this episode and for episodes moving forward, if you guys use the code MM23 on immunosoaps.com, you can get 5% off most products on the website. Okay, you have to make sure that you purchase at least a minimum of $7 to get that 5% off discount. You guys won't want to miss out on this opportunity. Once again, use the Morning Mimosas code MM23 on immunosoaps.com to get 5% off your total purchase with a minimum purchase of $7. Hey guys, so today's episode is about CPS and the many issues that CPS faces. Okay, the reason I wanted to do this episode because I really wanted to touch on certain issues that CPS, and for those who don't know what CPS is, although it's named a variety of things depending on your state or your municipality or your province. Or your territory, it could be named something different, but it's CPS stands for Child Protective Services. Now, the job of Child Protective Services is exactly what it states. It's supposed to come in and protect a child and or children who are living under not normal circumstances, basically. But the reason I wanted to talk about this today is because I've watched so many episodes, I've researched so many cases where CPS and just the adults around many children just failed miserably. I want to start off with one case that bothers me from Michigan. Michigan bothers me just in general because Michigan just has a lot that needs to be worked on. It was the case of Michelle Blair. She murdered two of her children, Stoney and Stephen Blair. But it wasn't known for years that she murdered the children. The children were missing for about 2 years. No one came in. Nobody asked, why are these kids in school? The fathers of the children, I don't know what those fellows were doing. Were they the family, I guess, was asking where the children are. She kept lying, saying that they were somewhere else or whatever. CPS did not come and intervene at all in that situation. And both of those beautiful children were found dead in a deep freezer in Michigan. So CPS just completely dropped the ball. And just a lot of different cases that I listened to where a child is being abused and for some reason keeps going back to the home that they're being abused in. Obviously, we know that CPS, and I'm going to reiterate for those who don't know, CPS is Child Protective Services. Obviously, it's not perfect because nobody's perfect. The system is flawed, it's made by humans, and humans are heavily flawed. But we've got to do better in situations like this. So many children have died under the care of Child Protective Services, and something needs to be done about that. Child Protective Services needs to be held accountable for the deaths of these children that they were supposed to be under the care of. And I say that to say this. There's another case where I don't know if it was Atlanta, but I just know those cases in Georgia specifically. Tiffany Moss is on death row for the unaliving of her stepdaughter, Imani Moss. She killed that beautiful 10-year-old girl. She starved her to death and was abusing her. And then also the father, whose name is irrelevant to me because I forgot it. He's doing time for that murder as well because he knew damn well that his wife was abusing his daughter and didn't do anything about it. So there's my frustration there. CPS was involved in that situation too. Obviously, Tiffany Moss was arrested for abuse, but yet they let Imani go back to that home. And she ended up being starved and abused to death. And now, because an action is taking place, now they put Tiffany on death row versus they should have stepped in before it got to the point of murder. Let me go ahead and talk about that for a second. That's another thing that frustrates me as a mother and as a human being, that the police, CPS, or any of these facilities or organizations only come in when things are at its worst. That is absolutely unacceptable. And I'm speaking on different topics when it comes to this: child abuse, domestic violence, rape, anything that just goes unreported, or that goes reported, but they don't do anything about it until obviously it's too late. There was a story that I just listened to, and I forget the state that it was in, but it was a 5-year-old beautiful boy. His name was Ethan, and his mother locked him in a basement because she had a new boyfriend and she was starving him, and baby boy died. The thing I loved about that story is that the boy's aunts came forward to seek justice for their nephew. But the thing I also want to say about the two beautiful aunts of that little boy is that they tried to intervene before he died. They did. They contacted CPS over 30 times to get that boy the help that he deserved, because he was being abused along with his other sibling. So it just mind boggles me that CPS can pretend to visit these homes and then type up false reports. And I'm not saying all of them do that. I'm just saying there's cases like this. They type up false reports saying that, yes, I visited this family, knowing damn well they haven't visited that family in like 3-4 months. And they don't really know what's going on in the home. Absolutely ridiculous, if I may say so myself. We as a community need to rally around and come forward and say something. I'm so tired of people keeping things to themselves. We need to start saying things when children are being abused, when you see somebody that you know being abused. It's time to talk. Too many people are going to the grave prematurely because somebody knew something that could have saved that person's life. We need to stop that mentality, and I mean that for all crimes. It's time for people to stop being pussy, and you guys know me, and you guys know how passionate I am about this. You guys need to stop being pussy and come forward and tell the police, CPS, or whatever government official or facilities handling that case come forward. And then the people who are working for these government officials, I'm gonna talk to you guys for a second. Okay? My frustration becomes with you guys is that you guys don't get in trouble for you guys' mistakes. I honestly feel like CPS, if a child is under your care and that child dies, you guys should be held, criminally negligent on that part, because that'll start to teach you guys, hey, maybe we should start following up. Maybe these caseworkers shouldn't be overworked. Maybe these caseworkers shouldn't have so many cases at one time, because I know that a lot of these workers are overworked. They have a lot of cases, and sometimes things slip through the cracks. But that's the problem. When things slip through the cracks, that's how children die. So, as an advocate for everyone, children included, children are probably I'm probably the biggest advocate for them, because I was once a child and I wish somebody would have advocated for me. So I advocate for the children. I advocate for DV victims, male and female, because one of the things that people seem to forget that, that things happen to men too. So let's go ahead and talk about the 5 common issues of Child Protective Services. And this information that I'm going to be presenting to you comes from the law offices of Johnson & Johnson in California. So shout out to the law offices of Johnson & Johnson for this information that I'm about to relay to you guys. So the first issue that CPS has is reporting mandating. So as you guys know, that certain people are mandated reporters. So they have to report on abuse, if you want to kill yourself, if you want to kill other people, etc. So the thing that ends up happening with that is false accusations. There's a statistic here. It says, according to a 2016 report, over 7.4 billion were brought to the attention of child abuse hotlines. In Illinois alone, in 2018, a total of 422,000 families were investigated, but only 20,000 of those were substantiated. I want to read that statistic again, and this was in the state of Illinois. In 2018, a total of 77,422 families were investigated. But listen to how many of the cases were substantiated. 20,000. Which means, if we're doing that math, more than half of those cases were not substantiated. Absolutely ridiculous. So that goes into the false reporting. So what I'm going to say to that today is, please don't falsely report on a family who you see may be struggling, just because you see maybe something's a little bit different. Instead of reporting them, ask them, hey, are you struggling? Do you need some help? Help them find some resources to get them back on their feet instead of reporting them. Only report if it's true abuse, please. I mean, that statistic alone should make you want to slap someone, because people, what are you guys doing all that false reporting for? The second one is racial biases, and we're all familiar with racial bias when it comes to crime and everything else. According to the law offices of Johnson & Johnson, located in the state of California, race relations in the U.S. are often intense. As minorities and communities of color continue to be disproportionately impacted by laws across the nation, their children are also affected as well. For instance, an analysis of a 2015 data displays that Peoria County, that's in Illinois once again, forced children into foster care from Black families at rates of nearly 8 times higher than those of non-Black population. I'm truly wondering when this racist thing is gonna, obviously it's not going to end, but I'm just wondering when people are gonna stop looking at race as issues of why somebody does what they do. Like I stated at the beginning of most of these episodes, especially more recently, we love every race. We love everyone. But I am going to be the person that says this today. For the most part, Caucasian cases are less likely to happen in these situations unless that Caucasian family is poor. But for the most part, you guys know how that goes. And shout out to my Caucasian people. I love y'all. Number 3 is confirmation bias. Confirmation bias occurs at the result of the tendency to interpret new evidence as a confirmation of your beliefs. So, for those of you that don't know what that means, that just means that you're confirming your biases by interpreting your evidence to make you believe what you already believe, basically. So that alone is, it's horrible. Now, we're going to go to number 4, which is investigation denials. I'm going to read this one verbatim. This one says, sometimes when families are accused of child abuse, as a result of medical findings, they can request an independent evaluation to help substantiate the claims reported to Child Protective Services. However, Child Protective Services has the right to deny these requests, in which case the families are left to fund the investigation out of pocket, which is absolutely absurd. If a family is trying their best to make sure that they're proving themselves innocent, why would you guys deny them that right? Don't even get me started on that. Next piece of information. Even then, a family can spend a tremendous amount of money to present several expert testimony from various types of physician and medical professionals. And the CPS affiliated pediatrician assigned to the case can still insist on keeping the investigation open. What happened to wanting the best for the children? Everybody in that situation should be trying to work together Because at the end of the day, what is the main goal? The safety and the well-being of the children, right? I thought that's what that was. Or maybe that's just what my life is making sure that I'm doing the best for the safety and then betterment of my children and all children all over the world. That needs to change. You guys need to figure out how to, CPS needs to be able to work with these families. I know a lot of them do. I'm not saying that. And please, for those of you who are listening, I am not talking about the good CPS workers or the good CPS organization. I'm talking about the ones who are heavily flawed. And number 5, even though number 5 is not the last one, there's probably many more, but we're talking about the 5 today. When in doubt, call the hotline. So there is a abuse hotline that they have. It doesn't give me the information for that, but if you unless there's an immediate fear of harm to a child, a medical review or a reasonable suspicion is best held before a call is made to CPS. Okay? Do not call CPS first if you have a doubt. Call the child abuse hotline number first. Okay? I will provide that information here today. For anyone who may know someone who is abusing a child, please call that number so you know how to help that said child. But, guys, we just talked about CPS and its many, many issues. I gave you guys a few examples, a few stories of some cases where CPS failed miserably. Child Protective Services all over the United States and all over the world, you guys have got to do better. Because at the end of the day, CPS is supposed to be Child Protective Service. It's supposed to be protecting the child. The fact that a lot of these kids have been murdered because you guys decided to bring them back into the homes that you guys got them out of is absolutely absurd. So, CPS, Child Protective Services, let's do better. Okay, let's save the lives of these children. This is why I'm going the route that I'm going. Because people need to be saved. Children need to be saved. DV victims need to be saved. My community needs to be saved. So let's start somewhere. Let's protect one another. Let's love one another like we family. Let's agree to disagree. Let's be respectful. And when I say be respectful, please be respectful to children too. Children are little people who also have emotions that they cannot explain because they're not mature enough to explain it. So let children be children. Don't abuse them because you're angry and ain't got patience for them. I can sit here today. I'm a mother of 2 children, and my children irritate me sometimes. And I give them sometimes a little love tap, a little tap on the hand, like, hey, stop it. But some people go way too far. Beating with belts and 4x4. I mean, I've heard horrible stories. Starving the children, putting them in basements and chains. And CPS did nothing. So today I want to say rest in peace to all the angels that were lost at the hands of Child Protective Services in whatever region you live in. I want you guys' souls to be at peace and to know that you guys have a guardian angel here on earth named Holly Sisa, who will make sure you guys' stories are not in vain and to protect other children like you so they don't go through that. So they can live their lives and become adults as they should and as you guys should have. Hey guys, this is Morning Mimosas founder Holly Sisa, where we value human life, criminal justice, healing, and education for the Black and minority communities with the note that we love everyone. Until next time, thank you guys for listening.